Good evening and welcome to our Good Friday service. We're glad you're with us this evening as we remember Jesus' 7 last words and as we walk with him to the cross. The words for the hymns and the passages hopefully are on your screen in the text box, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. We invite you to follow along. We'll pause for a moment as we center our hearts and minds with Christ. Your Redeemer's conflict sweet, watch with him one bitter hour. Turn not from his griefs away, learn of Jesus Christ to pray. Follow to the judgment hall, view the Lord of life ordained. Oh, the burden and the blood, oh, the pains his soul sustained, shun not suffering, shame, or loss, learn of him to bear the cross.
As they led him away, they seized a man, Simon of Cyrene, who was coming from the country, and they laid the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. A great number of the people followed him, and among them were women who were beating their breasts and wailing for him. But Jesus turned to them and said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For the days are surely coming when they will say, 'Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed.' Then they will begin to say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Cover us.' For if they do this when the wood is green, what will happen when it's dry?" 2 others also, who were criminals, were laid away to be put to death with him. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Then Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots to divide his clothes.
Beneath the cross of Jesus, my flame would take my stand. The shadow of Almighty love within a weary land. A home within the wilderness, the rest upon the way. From the burning of the noontide heat and burden of the day. Upon the cross of Jesus, my eye at times can see the very
confess, the wonders of redeeming love and my unworthiness.
There was also an inscription over him. "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who were hanged there kept deriding him and saying, "Are you not the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same condemnation? And we indeed have been condemned justly, for we are getting what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise."
O sacred and now wounded, with grief and shame weighed down, now scornfully surrounded, with thorns thine only crown. O sacred and of glory, what bliss till now was thine? If thou despised and glory, I joy to call thee mine. What thou, my Lord, hast suffered was all for sinners' gain. Mine was a transgression, but thine the deadly pain. Lo, here I fall my Savior, 'tis I deserve thy praise. Look on me with thy favor, vouchsafe to me thy grace.
Meanwhile, standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his own home.
Chief of sinners, though I be, Jesus shed his blood for me. Died that I might live, live that I may never die. As the branches to the vine, I am his and he is mine. Oh, the height of Jesus' love, higher than the heavens above, deeper than the depths of sea, lasting as eternity. Love that found me wondrous sought, found me when I sought him not.
From noon on, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. At about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani, that is, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, this man is calling for Elijah.
Holy Jesus, how hast thou offended that we to judge thee, with pretended life was derided by thine own rejected, almost afflicted. Who was the guilty who brought this upon thee? His Son, Jesus, that light on me. 'Twas our Lord Jesus, I was denied thee. I crucified thee.
After this, when Jesus knew that all was now finished, he said, in order to fulfill the scripture, I am thirsty. A jar full of sour wine was standing there. So they put a sponge full of the wine on a branch of hyssop and held it to his mouth.
Your only Son, no sin to hide, that you have sent him from your side to walk upon this guilty soul and to become the Lamb of God. Oh, Lamb of God, sweet Lamb of God, I love the holy Lamb of God, who washed me in his precious blood. My Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God. Your gift of love they crucified, they laughed and scorned him as he died. The humble King they named a fraud, and sacrificed the Lamb of God. Oh, Lamb of God, sweet God, I love the holy Lamb of God, who washed me in his precious blood. My Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God.
When he had received the wine, he said, it is finished. Then he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there?
While the sun's light failed and the curtain of the temple was torn in two, then Jesus, crying with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." Having said this, he breathed his last.